Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there. Welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. Thanks for being part of the family on all three channels, Evolutionary, EEARTS, and Heart's Home, the newest channel. And we want to thank our Patreons. Yesterday, we had a few new Patreons to thank you.
Yes, we want to say thank you to Sherry, Harold, Haphazardous, Karen, and Liliana.
Yes, thank you guys so much. Again, on Patreon, we will be putting up on a regular basis videos that are exclusive to Patreon, and we do get to speak a little bit more bluntly for the time being anyway, right? I mean, we got to keep doing what we can do where we can do it. We've had, and not to get too sidelined, we've had all sorts of technical issues lately. You know, we are out in the boonies. There's no fiber optic where we are. There's the only option is satellite. That's the only option, and Elon doesn't cover this area, so there's only one satellite company. That's your only option where we are at this point in time, and we have moved quite often for specific reasons, including keeping our health. And of course, that would be a obvious thing, no need to go into too much more there. But we definitely felt it was time to get more remote. So what does that give you? It gives you less options technology-wise. But we were having all sorts of issues, and it was good to find out in a way, and disconcerting in another, that there was a reason for that. And, the company that we're dealing with here does have military ties, as it turns out. And it turns out they put something on our account that was something that I don't believe we ever authorized. And not only that, but they've had to escalate it because something was supposed to come off of our account. We asked for it to be taken off, and things were working okay. And then all of a sudden, we're back again to the same old issues because it was put back on our account, and we didn't ask for it.
I think the nice broad way of putting it is it was a control mechanism so that they can control what goes on in our home. And that's just so very disturbing. And honestly, you guys, I don't get angry very often, but I'm pretty disturbed about this. And I can feel that kind of draconian energy up inside of me, and it boils and it bubbles and it stings my skin. And I just, of course I'm going to let it go. I'm going to do some mantras, do some standing. That's what I do to try to break myself out of these. But of course, the level of control that these beings have, and that's exactly how they're going to control us. They're going to, if we say one wrong word, we probably have maybe 6 months of being able to speak somewhat more, but after that one wrong word, they can just right at a button, cut you off. And no wonder they're allowing so many people to work from home and rely on the internet. It's because you're going to be tethered.
Yeah, and so we've been acquiring redundancy as we've been able to, because this is again how we do make our living, which we could actually again make more money greeting people at Walmart than you do off of YouTube when you're not part of the system's programming. So, again, that's why we thank you guys so much. But we do have a redundancy because I've seen comments in the past where people who have said, well, you got an echo or you got cut off, you need a new microphone. We have 5 microphones. They're all good quality. They're all actually industry standards. They're the most common popular microphones used across different industries. Shure SM57, Shure SM58. We have blue microphones as well, Yeti and Snowballs. And, again, it's not the microphones. And we have a redundancy. We have like 5 different computers now with several different phones. And, again, it doesn't matter because they can shut you off anytime they want to. And this is the reality for everybody, is just to realize it, when it comes time, and it's getting close, they are going to totally lock down our ability to communicate with each other openly. it's getting close. It's getting very, very close. And I think, again, look to the certain dates, the certain agendas, like 2025. And then 2030 is a completion number for them. Completion. Oh, gosh, we got so much to cover here. This makes me want to jump forward a little bit. Let's jump forward and then we'll come back. When you look at cues, we were talking about cues and signals. This is the governor of Hawaii. Fatalities, 99 confirmed. 99. Now, 9 is a symbol of completion. 9 plus 9 equals 18. 1 plus 8 equals 9. This is about completion. Why do they give these numbers? Hawaiian National 273 on the ground. 2 plus 7 is 9, plus 3 is 12. 1 plus 2 equals 3. So, that's a divine number here. Again, what they're doing is, this is all code. Are these numbers accurate? I don't know. They may be accurate. I don't think they're accurate, but they're code. This is how they speak to each other. This is how they can speak without speaking to each other. And we did a video talking about a book that was published on the 10th. And the timeline on the book is talking about, giving you a full rundown of the events of the 8th through the 11th. And it was published on the 10th, all about the Hawaii fires. And also blaming it on climate change. And, again, go check out our Patreon for more info. Everything is about signals and code. As the governor of Hawaii says, the state's looking to acquire land that was destroyed in the fires. And a moratorium on any out-of-state property sales. Now, again, everything is they have all the loopholes in place, so that they know who's going to get what properties at a bargain basement price. And again, this is all about that 15 MIN city. It's all part of a program. And again, he's quoting back the 99. And, yesterday he was talking about being laser focused. Again, you can't make this up. The thing that's different nowadays is more people are not sleepwalking zombies, and more people can see what's going on. And the zombies out there, there's no hope for a lot of them, I think. Unfortunately, it's like some are so deep in that you're probably not going to be able to wake them up no matter how much cold water you splash on them. Again, it's that little child that has the hands over the ears. As mommy says, I know you did that. You took those cookies. You broke that jar. No, it was Johnny. I didn't do it. I can't hear you. That's exactly what the government's going to be doing with every situation. They're going to ignore, even if, and I've seen the comments, people are awake. And then you could feel the bot accounts that are like, oh, wow, do you think climate change is going to be that bad? Oh, wow, what can we do? Tell us, what can we do to help this? You could tell the bot accounts, and then you could tell the people down below it that are saying, we know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And they have just enough bot accounts, but there's those out there who are going to believe the narrative, buy into the narrative, until they don't anymore. But right now, most people who are flowing with the narrative, they have so many, they have so many reasons to buy into the narrative because of financial ties or this, or they want control, or they want to buy land. And as long as they go along with the program, they can kind of get anything they want. So the people we're dealing with are very, very materialistic. That's everything to them, the materialistic aspect of this world. But we are moving away from that. More and more people are saying, you know what? No, there is so much more to this world than the materialistic aspect of it. And I want to know what else is out there. So there they go, trying to block out the sun and all that information that gives us that curiosity, that drive to know, learn, and understand.
Absolutely. And people are questioning, this is from Zero Hedge and was authored originally by Michael Schneider. Again, the amount of greed that we're witnessing is staggering, and it's almost beyond belief. Well, again, the greedy humans are not the top of the pyramid. They're at the lower end of the totem pole. This is what we need to recognize. As you see people asking the local police, hey, we want to know what's going on. We want the truth. We know something's not right. And these guys are like, no comment, no comment, no comment. Again, you could see it in some of their faces that they understand something's really screwed up here, and the people are in the right. But what can they do? Perhaps they feel horrible that they're stuck in the middle. Or what power do they have? They just have to go along with whatever orders are given, and that rolls on down. And we've all we've all seen how the power structure runs. We've all seen the movies speaking about corruption. Again, it's the system itself. Did you know July 2023 in the UK was one of the coldest since 1991? All we see is these maps that show everything in blazing red and orange, like the world is melting. Well, not over in the UK, apparently. And we were just talking about pilots. Again, we're going into a different time frame. If you listen to the words of the sickle maker, when they were talking about the plague upon the land, and the sickle maker, it's a certain doctor, F-A-U, you can figure out the rest. Back when he was talking about the other pandemic, the one that came out in the 80s, right? And we started to realize, there was something going on in the 80s that was really unusual. And they talked about, will you be able to have a ouchie, and he said, well, we got to make sure we get it right, because, you could go ahead and give so many people these things, you won't know for 10 to 12 years, if it's going to be okay or not. 10 to 12 years, here we are, we're only a few years into, and you're seeing, this is the tip of the pyramid. This is this is just starting, unfortunately. So here you see a Miami to Santiago, Chile, 2 hours into an 8-hour flight. The captain collapsed, died in the lavatory. Plane diverted to Panama City. Third pilot collapsed this week. 56-year-old captain. Wow. He had fallen into the sink, pronounced dead upon arrival. It's the third this week. At some point in time, planes are going to be falling out of the sky for more reasons than one, in big numbers.
It is so sad that so many people just going down this path thinking that they're doing the right thing, or just trying to keep a roof over their head and feed their family. And this is what the return is. I mean, this world is, part of it is so extremely diabolical, and I think people are really, really seeing very clearly what part of this world do they want to be a part of.
Yeah, this gets me thinking again about the channeling that came through from these kids in 2055 about the Earth's future. And so, again, you could always just search a topic. Watch these two videos if you're so inclined, because, again, these two videos, we share what we saw and what we've gotten from some humans from the future. And again, consciousness is all interconnected. Time is just an illusion for this reality. And there are multiple timelines at the same time. So there are different possibilities out there. Many worlds, many mansions. Oh, yes. But there's no planes in the air. There are no planes in the air in 2055. And, I think I need to go and re-listen to the tapes on that we had gotten when Cindy was under. I do think, again, come 2035, they shared, that's when the giants began showing up. Where did the giants show up? They were in the cities, the MIN smart cities. They oversaw the cities themselves. Oh, what's happening now? What's emblazing these beings? As you see 2025, what you've seen happening in the Netherlands again will be in the U.S. What it is that they know they're going to have backup. And so, they understand they're losing control of the minds of the population, many of them. But they also understand they have backup coming that has very, very advanced technology. And so they're not totally worried about the scenario and what's coming as humanity wakes up. But yeah, this is all moving forward. All their plans are moving forward as Moscow hits Danube grain port. Ship set sail that had been sitting 17 months along a temporary maritime corridor for shipping. So grain silos and warehouses were hit during those drone attacks, and one ship did make it away. Again, this is a point of contention. It's just gonna, when they're ready, you'll see some other event that they'll send some other sort of number out, and that'll tell them to go. Again, it's all code, it's all signals. We understand many people realize the hand signals that are always given all throughout the year. I mean, we've done videos on that too. U.S. building permits stagnant in July as mortgage rates top 7%. Yeah, the money is getting more expensive. It's going to devalue. Right now, China has all sorts of turmoil going on. And one thing that doesn't seem to make any sense is that the yuan is at lows compared to the dollar. But again, this is how they manipulate things, and they maximize their profits. They play with everything. Banking giant Zhongrong, which is China's Blackstone, continued to weigh in on the sentiment. Home prices fell in China. They have all sorts of issues going on over there. And again, if you look at the economic situation, there's only one thing that typically brings countries out of the situation that we see right now, and that's a global war. And we have more than a dozen soldiers from Niger. I automatically want to say Nigerian, but that's a different country, killed in an attack near the Mali border. Another 20 soldiers were wounded in the attack. Again, these borders that are always changing generationally, we need to look at things in a different way. But this is how it serves such a huge purpose, keeping us divided by our religions, our nationalities. And again, the national borders at some time are going to go away, and that's going to be really at the next step when they again start to herd people into those 15 MIN cities. Yeah, we understand the war to end all wars is the one that's coming next. It wasn't WW1 or WW2. And then we're really going into a totally different time period, because they can't maintain total control over the whole planet as the whole planet is ascending. But those that are going to stay with a lowered frequency, they can herd them into the pens, and they believe, and they're banking on the fact that they'll be able to maintain the number of sheep in their fold.
Mm-hmm. But if you are working on your energy body or your spiritual aspect of yourself, that just starts to automatically separate you from the other devices. It separates you from the AI, and you actually start to become very intolerant, and things become things like technology, things at the grocery store, just checking out, just doing simple things, it starts to give you problems, and you're not able to just function normally. And that is going to separate more and more. And that's happened to Mike and I a lot. I had trouble at the dentist office, they had to put me in a room where they hardwired the x-rays for my mouth because the Wi-Fi ones kept, they just wouldn't work. And then, Mike at the grocery store, he's like struggling and fighting with it every time we go in, and it just becomes more and more difficult to deal with the technologies around you. So I do see like a physical split. I don't see that there's any way to avoid that.
No, absolutely. Yeah. If you want to, get a vision of Cindy going to the dentist office, it's like watching Firestarter or Carrie. I mean, the energy that can come off of her. I mean, she's broken windshields in the truck just from the energy coming off of her. So. Yeah, and it's the same thing yesterday. I get so irritated at the machinery in the markets that they always malfunction around me, and I have a total distaste for the technology. So sometimes we're wondering, are we doing this? And this is also why we have a redundancy, because we understand that technology is about enslavement. This is why they give us the technology. It's to enslave us. And, so there is an inherent dislike for the technology, so to speak. Yet at the same time, we are seriously at peace when we're out in the countryside like we are. So, yeah, it's a battle, but we will not be able to really coexist with the technology when we go up into higher and higher frequencies. We will automatically come around the technology and it's going to go haywire. This is just part of the separation. So it's not only that we won't feel good around the technology won't feel good around us.
Mm-hmm. Right. There's a two-way street going on there. And you might consciously start to make the decision to work on your energy body. But then after a while, the subconscious kicks in, and pretty soon all you're trying to do is check Facebook on your phone, and there's no way it's going to load, and then you get frustrated. But all of those episodes is having to do with us letting go of the things in the 3D that no longer serve us.
Absolutely. So India's ban on some rice exports is ricocheting around the world. There's been so many fires, so many events. It's only a matter of time before we really have true shortages, and we really have true hyperinflation of everything that's going to be basic needs. Food, there you go. Clean water. Mobs burn Christian churches, homes in Pakistan after blasphemy allegations. Hundreds of people armed with batons and sticks attacked churches in Jaranwala after the Quran was allegedly desecrated. And again, when people finally realize that all these things that we've taken one thing to be sacred after another, when they don't even understand how they were put together, they're believing still in Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy. When you go and look how things were actually put together, the people that are truly the experts will even tell you, well, this is probably 300 years after the event actually transpired. Yeah, that was a pen name. It wasn't really this person. No, it's somebody writing in the spirit of that person. And yeah, well, we could even tell that this author right here, we're going to give a letter H to, and this one over here, we're going to give a different designation to, because it's not all the same author. And, again, it's interesting how the human mind works, and we want to believe something, and so we end up making it like it's an absolute fact when things are not fact. Again, when you look to the works in the Hebrew Bible, you have the Elohist, the Yahwist, and then you have the priestly, the priestly caste ones that were again not written even in using the vowels. They were only using consonants. It was up to interpretation constantly when things were being transcribed. And again, when you look to some of the oldest versions that we have, like the oldest complete version of the New Testament, and it's several centuries after the facts, and of course there was dissension early on. So all this is dogma is created to divide. Dogma divides. It's really that simple. And so again, it's brainwashing, indoctrination, in order to divide and conquer. And that's what the system uses. That simple Beatles statement, all you need is love. And yeah, the Beatles again. Was Paul McCartney really Paul McCartney? Was it a stand-in? And anybody that makes it big, that big, you are buying into the system in one way or another. So, even that which we loved and enjoyed, the realization was at some point in time, there was an agreement, consciously or unconsciously, that allowed these people to rise into a position to be the stars. And we talked about that with that video on YouTube, on Patreon yesterday. Because what was that author? And again, that was a pen name, obviously. Miles Stone. Dr. Miles Stone said it, so it's got to be the truth. Milestone. Hello, Guidestones. This is just code. This is, again, Illuminati, secret society code. They don't believe in anything that they sell. They just want you to.
Mm-hmm. I know. And today I've known that I've known for a long time we're under some sort of control thing, but the guy that we talked to and the technical part of things, he made the mistake of saying the word permission. He said, I have to escalate this up and get permission to remove this control thing. And it's like, that just really, I'm still burned up. I got to do my mantras and meditation this morning and break out of this. But it's that reality that just smacks you in the face so hard. And it's really easy to step into cognitive dissonance and say, no biggie, oh well. But no, we really all need to be making steps toward becoming self-sufficient, or get to be friends with your neighbors so that you have some type of a network, so you don't have to rely on these beings for your bread and butter. No, then you start to rely on friends, and then you get to start working with people face to face, and then you start seeing the reality of human connection and how beautiful it can be once we work past certain traumas, or we find an acceptance amongst each other, traumas or no traumas. It's about that connection. So that's where we're headed next. And I like to look at the silver lining. So that's the silver lining of it all.
So we have tropical cyclone Land making landfall in Japan, bringing record-breaking rainfall. And this is all the storms are getting stronger. One thing I wanted to touch on, as we see here, vehicles, bridges, buildings washed away, catastrophic floods hit Himachal Pradesh and also Uttarakhand, India. We've seen crazy floods everywhere, as we're going to roll over to our original intention over here. As we see the potential development areas next 7 days, you see there's 3 possibilities for some tropical development. Not exceedingly high yet, but here we are. It's the 16th of August. Everything's going to change in a few weeks, as it feels that this year is fairly similar in some ways to 2017. Remember, August 2017, we had the eclipse, the first eclipse, and then, and the first eclipse in the big X marks the spot, which is actually 3 eclipses, of which the middle eclipse is going to happen in October. I believe it's October 23rd. And then the last one, April 8th, 2024. The X marks the spot over the New Madrid. Well, this X over here is going to be heading over Texas, so to speak, and over to Oregon, the line of that eclipse. But we did see all of a sudden 3 storms come at the end of August 2017 and the beginning of September that were, record breakers. They changed everything. And I would not be surprised at all to see the same. They've been harping on these temperatures, and in the Gulf, they were showing 87, 88. That's normal. That's normal. Yeah, there have been isolated spots that have been very warm, but when we see the 87, 88, that's pretty typical. And again, the biggest storms tend to be in September when we're talking about the Atlantic hurricane season. Now you see Greg, who is a tropical storm here, and Fernanda, which is another one of those rapidly advancing storms that just get so strong so quick. This is the norm now. But when I was thinking about what was said by Peter Dunov, who is another mystic from Bulgaria and one of our guides now, he was saying that the Ice Age was all about going through this 13th zone, like a dead zone, a nasty zone of energy, and that we normally will be warmer. And it's curious because what's going to happen? I think we are in a period of just shooting all over the place because again, you can't tell what's natural and you can't tell what's artificial. You really can't. There's so much combined that how do we know exactly what is? I mean, we could feel into things. And these are, again, Greg is, as you can see here, there's the Hawaiian Islands. So, Greg is down there and Fernanda's heading in that way. So Tropical Storm Greg spins towards Hawaii as Hurricane Fernanda's on its heels. We're going to have to see. People have talked about it washing away evidence. As you see, a remarkable amount of eye wall lightning last 24 hours. And, this is Earth Null School, and you can see Greg and then Fernanda. So, and there is another development that's over here, which some were positing the possibility of it bringing significant rain potentially to Baja and maybe even up into Southern California. We'll have to see how that develops. But, getting back to the Hawaii thing, again, look for the numbers. Look at everything a little bit more detail-wise and see if you see the patterns. I know you guys will see those patterns. But, yeah, so when we look to some of these people like Peter Dunov and also to Alois Ermeiler, and you could go on and on. You could go with Mother Shipton, you go on with Casey, you go on Nostradamus, all these different, people that have had these visions. There's so many of them. The weather and everything, the Earth's going to reset and change herself as she gets free and clear from the system, and then the system becomes just like a localized small cancer on the planet instead of this raging contagion. Yeah, things then will really change. The system will still be here for a while. This all takes time, and we want it to be over. We want to step into the golden age. We want, people have bought into Nasara Gasara, and they think, hey, okay, don't worry, the White Hats are in charge, and everything's going to be okay tomorrow. And the reality is this is going to take some time. And if there is a Nasara Gasara at this point, it's going to include a lot of things that are given to us by the few. And those are going to be things that most people will say, I can't do that.
Mm-hmm. Nothing is.
Well, most of us.
Right, most of us. Nothing is ever free. Nothing is ever free. There's always an exchange in energy. And right now we need to be very mindful of where we do allow our energy to be utilized and what energy we take in and bring onto ourselves, because the new world, the next world, is going to be all about energy. It's not just about something that you hear about or read about. It's going to be a huge knowing.
Yeah, this guy knows he's found his way to the promised land. He's in paradise. All you can eat salad buffet.
He's such a cutie.
And he says it's non-GMO.
Indeed.
So again, guys, thank you for your support. Look forward to your comments. Let us know what you guys are seeing out there. Much love. God bless. Namaste.
Namaste.